Welcome to the Jayda InStitches show and happy spring! That means that Easter is also on its way, and if you want to get a little taste for some early Easter or even just some spring decorating, we've got a cute little coaster pattern for you today. I love coasters. They're a quick and easy way to use up some scraps, and they're a nice way to sort of change up your decoration in time for the change of season, and they don't take up a lot of room. There are a lot of really cute bunny-inspired coasters out there, so of course I had to try my hand at making my own, and I'm quite pleased with this one. You can use any 100% cotton yarn that you've got, like a size 4, but I used the classic dishcloth style cotton. I like that for coasters typically because it's very absorbent and it's soft, but in particular this time, because I'm using these pastel colors, the softness of that cotton yarn contributes to the softness of that pastel color. So I really like how these turned out. They don't use up much yarn, they're a quick little scrap project, and you can have a set of them made up just in time for Easter dinner. So let's grab our hooks, grab our yarn, we'll head on over to the craft table, and we'll stitch up a few bunny coasters together. Hop, hop, hop! In order to make our little bunny coasters, I'm using 100% cotton yarn. This is a size 4 medium weight, and it's the kind of yarn that you can make like dishcloths and stuff out of, so it doesn't have to be fancy. You need very little yarn for this. Each coaster only takes 2 yards for the first row or the coral part, 3 yards for the second row or the blue part, and for the rest of the little ears and the round of it, the white part, you're looking at about 14 yards. So very small amount of yarn per coaster. Pair of scissors, a yarn needle, and I'm using a 5mm hook today. This is also known as an H or an 8. And once you've got all that together, we can get started. We're going to begin in the middle and work our way out. So you take your coral yarn. We're going to begin with a cinch circle. If cinch circles give you a lot of trouble, you can always use a chain 4 ring, but I highly recommend the cinch circle. Once you get the hang of them, they're very easy, they're very handy, and of course it gives you a nice tiny center with no space in the middle of it. Once you make your cinch circle, chain 1 to secure it. We are going to chain 3 more. That chain 4 now that you have coming out of your cinch circle counts as a double crochet, chain 1. You're going to work a double crochet, chain 1, 7 more times into your circle, working over top of that little short tail. So double crochet, chain 1, you're going to have 8 spokes and 8 chain 1 spaces, so 8 double crochets, 8 chain 1 spaces all together at the end of row 1. At the end of row 1, you'll have 8 double crochets and 8 chain 1 spaces. Remember, your chain 4 that began counts as a double crochet chain 1, so you've made double crochet chain 1 7 more times. That's 8 in total. Grab that short tail, cinch it up nice and tight. You can find the 3rd chain of the chain 4 and slip stitch to join. If you are not changing color, so let's say you wanted to make this bunny coaster in a solid color, you would just slip stitch into the next chain 1 space and wait. But for those of us changing colors, once you've joined with a slip stitch to that 3rd chain, you can fasten off. And I recommend taking a moment to weave in your tails as you work. It just keeps things nice and neat and tidy. We're going to take our robin egg blue now, or whatever color you're using for row 2, make a slip knot. We're going to join our yarn with a slip stitch in any of the chain 1 spaces. If you slip stitched into a chain 1 space, you're already there. Join with a slip stitch. We're going to chain 3. And double crochet into the same space. So chain 3, double crochet in the same place that you joined your yarn, chain 1. Work 2 double crochet, chain 1, into every chain 1 space all the way around. 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet, chain 1, into each space all the way around. You'll have 16 double crochet, or 8 pairs of double crochets, and 8 chain 1 spaces all the way around when you're finished row 2. At the end of row 2, you're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 that began the row. you'll have 8 sets of double crochets, 16 double crochets, 8 chain 1 spaces all the way around. If you are not changing colors, you want to slip stitch into the next stitch and slip stitch into the next space. So right over here and wait. For those of us changing colors, you can fasten off and take a moment to weave in that tail. Next, we're going to join our white, or whatever your third color is. Make a slip knot on your hook. You're going to join with a slip stitch in any chain 1 space if you're already in a chain 1 space because you didn't change colors. And just hold on a moment. Chain 3 to begin. Chain 3 counts as a double crochet as it has in the previous 2 rows. Double crochet in the same place that you joined 2 more times. So chain 3, 2 double crochet in the same stitches joining or the same space. Chain 1. Now, into every chain 1 space around, you're going to work 3 double crochets. And a chain 1. 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet, chain 1. In each chain 1 space all the way around, you will have 8 sets of triplets, or 24 double crochet all the way around at the end of row 3. And 8 chain 1 spaces. At the end of row 3's round, you're going to make sure you don't forget that last chain 1. Join with a slip stitch to the top of the chain 3, and row 3 is not quite over yet, but you might want to take a moment to just put your circle down on your surface and just flatten it out a little bit with the heat of your hand. Don't worry if it's cupping a bit on you. That is okay. It will flatten out as soon as you are done, and also with use it will flatten out. Cotton will ease a little bit. We have finished the circular part of row 3. Now we actually want to put on the base of the ears. So 2 ears. We're going to repeat this little ear pattern twice with some slip stitches in between. So here we go. Right from where we are, we're going to chain 8. We're going to skip the first chain from the hook and slip stitch into the second chain. Half double crochet into the next chain. Double crochet into each of the next 4 chains. And single crochet into the last chain. So that's slip stitch, half double crochet, 4 double crochets, and a single crochet in that ear. That equals 7 stitches altogether. You're going to skip over the place that you came out of, so that was the join at the top of the chain 3, and just slip stitch into the very next stitch along row 3, and that connects the ear to the top of the circle. Slip stitch into the next stitch, slip stitch into the next space, and slip stitch into the next stitch. So now you're at the top of the next stitch, and we're going to repeat that little ear. Chain 8, skip the first chain from the hook, slip stitch into the second chain, half double crochet into the next chain, double crochet into each of the next 4 chains, and single crochet into the last chain. You want to skip the place that you chained out of and slip stitch into the next stitch along row 3. That completes row 3. You're going to chain 1, but you're not going to turn, and this is going to set us up for row 4. You can take a moment to lay it flat and just admire that little burgeoning bunny shape that we're getting. Row 4 is our row of edging. Into the same place that we joined our yarn and chained 1 out of, we are going to work 2 single crochet. So 2 single crochet to begin. Single crochet into the next stitch, into the next space, and into the next stitch. 2 single crochet into the next stitch. Single crochet once into the next stitch, into the next space, and into the next stitch. And this is our little repeat all the way around. 2 single crochet into the next stitch, single crochet once into the next stitch, into the next space, and into the next stitch. You're going to repeat that, 2 single crochet followed by 1 single crochet into each of the next stitch, space, stitch. That will increase your stitch count a little bit. This is easing up our circle as we go. So 2 single crochet followed by a single crochet, a single crochet, and a single crochet. And this will take you up to the base of the first ear. Your last single crochet as you come around to the base of the ear is going to be in what we call the false stitch. It's this little guy right here at the base of the ear. You get a false stitch when you join a row with a slip stitch when you're working in the round. So last single crochet goes there. Now we're going to single crochet up the bottom edge of the first ear. So these are all the foundation chains. There's 7 of these. So you're single crocheting into the underside of the stitches of the ear. So 7 single crochet up the edge of the ear. That brings you up to this little skipped chain up at the top. Get your hook under that chain, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet into that chain. You can skip the rest of that chain. You're looking now for the stitches. There are 7 of them. You're going to single crochet into each of those 7 stitches down the other side of the ear. And that's 1 ear edged. Nice little point at the top. You've got 3 slip stitches between the ears. You're going to single crochet right over top of them. So you're going to plunk your needle or your hook right underneath those single crochets, almost like they don't exist. So you're just kind of covering them up. So it looks like that running across the top. And now you're going to do the same thing all the way up the other ear. So there's 7 single crochets up the foundation side of the second ear. You're going to grab that chain at the top, slip your hook under it, and work single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. This just gives our ear a nice little point. You can skip the rest of that chain. You're looking for the 7 stitches down the other side, but you can use whichever of those 7 stitches gives you a nice even looking straight ear. When you get down to the bottom, you're going to find the first stitch of the row and slip stitch to join. Take a moment, fasten off, weave in your tail, and come on back, we'll give it a little bit of shaping. Once you've woven in your tail, just put your hand flat on your little bunny, just to let it flatten out a little bit. Use the heat of your hand to do a little light blocking. Grab the top point chains at the top of each of those bunny ears and pull the ears out. And you can sort of flatten down the ears as well. And there you go. Each of these coasters, depending on the weight category of the yarn you use, if you use a size 4 like I do, they're not always all the same. Personal tension hooks can vary a little bit too, but roughly your coasters will be about 4 inches or 10 centimeters wide at the part where you put your drink down, and of course a little bit taller where the ears are. And there you go, a bunny coaster, or 2, or a set, or however many you might need. They don't take up much yarn, so you could probably whip up quite a number of them, especially if you're using up your cotton scraps. I love little scrap projects, and I love scrap projects that are useful. And this one's particularly useful. And now I've got a little something to put down on the side table. I can switch out my other coaster, and I can start using this one underneath my coffee mug in the morning. And it sort of says spring and Easter. And aren't you happy that we're back to being able to use our pastels once again? I just love pastel colors, but I feel like I really only kind of have the excuse of busting them out in time for Easter or maybe the odd baby project. But I just love that. I love those pastels together. I do love the spring, and I'm so glad it's here. And I'm so glad you guys are here. Thank you so much for spending a little time with us today and stitching up a little coaster along with me. And we'll see you soon here on the Jayda and Stitches Show. Until then, stay safe, stay crafty, and have a great week. Bye, guys.
Hi, everybody. Mr. and Stitches here. Thank you for watching today. Here are some of our other videos you might be interested in. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe.